Hi guys, in this video on the Cato Management Application Introductory Series, we're going to talk about the Resources menu. Under the Resources menu, we have Integration Events, Objects, Asset Management, Catalogs, and Advanced. Let's start here at Integrations under Integration Events. These are all the integration options we have here at Cato. You can click on these and get more detail as to which one's which. And you can click on them and look at configuration options. You can see what you have set up by clicking on Data Protection APIs and Integrated Apps. API keys, pretty straightforward. You can develop API keys, event integration. Some integrations require this to be able to enable the integration with Cato events. You can toggle that switch here. Objects and groups. So a group, you can build a logical construct to be able to be applied in firewall and DNS policy rules. Custom apps, you can build a custom app around a private application. So a CRM or ERP you're running internally or in the cloud. You can use this to be able to put that into a certain bucket to be able to look for experience monitoring metrics and be able to analyze the data associated with your internal private applications. Categories, you can look up sanctioned app categories, add sanctioned apps into those. You can look at system categories you already have and search for those if you want. IP ranges, similar to groups, you can build an IP range and use that as a policy set for firewall and DNS policy. Floating ranges are typically used in BGP. You can read more about that on our knowledge base. Device posture, you can build device posture profiles and start to apply those. So you can look here, I've got a device posture profile here and it's checking for things like anti-malware, firewall, and then you can be able to use that in client access control. So looking for certain types of certificates or firewall checks, you can do that. And then you can build a device check here as well. So when you apply that in the categories device cert, it validates that certificate is on that list. So lots of ways to be able to check for those. And then you can go back out here under access and look at the actual client access control policy and apply those device posture profile checks. A lot of information on the actual Academy on this, but it's a very powerful feature to be able to restrict access based on the actual device hardware and information on it, like things like operating system level. All right. So asset management devices, already talked about in the previous videos. It's just going to be able to look at the inventory of devices in your infrastructure. Catalogs, app catalog. You can search for certain types of application and see how Cato has categorized that. So you can click this here and see like there's the risk score, what it is, and what the type is. And you can go into where the headquarters is. Lots of ways to slice and dice application data. You can look up a certain domain to say, what does Cato think of Amazon.com? Here it is, there's the categories, and there's the malicious score, risk score. Same thing with threat catalog, but around threats. So you can search for threats, you can see the signature, the MITRE attack if you wanted to. So if I was curious about email collection attacks, there's some of them that we have and the status of them. Indication catalog, same thing, but for indications like web shells and SQL injection, those type of things. And you can break it down by MITRE attack framework if you wanted to, and it's going to show you all the detail associated with that particular, MITRE attack technique that you've picked. Okay, and advanced and system settings and account advanced configuration, not going to cover that today. So in summary, guys, let's talk about what we covered today. So we talked about the integration and events menu. We talked about integration options and event integrations. We talked about objects and how you can use those in firewall and policy rules. Then we talked about device posture and ways to be able to set that up to be able to look for posture checks and integrate that with client access. And then we talked about catalogs and be able to access the catalogs around applications and threats and indications. Thanks so much, guys. I hope this is helpful.